Good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're watching this. It is the morning for me here. It's a very rainy, dreary day, and I love it. I have missed the rains of the south, and it's just a beautiful, gentle rain falling, and it has been all morning, and we really needed it here in South Carolina for sure. We have been getting quite a bit of rain the last few days, and we really needed it, especially for all of the wildfires happening. There weren't any fires really close to us, but it's still sad to see all the devastation that's happening here. But today is just going to be a little bit of a catch up for reading, for what's been happening just in general in my life. Probably do a little bit of a book haul because I do have some new books, and possibly, unless the video is getting too long, we'll possibly do a unhaul, or trying to decide if I'm going to unhaul these books, which I would need your opinions on. Today I am just very grateful to even be here. This past weekend we were going down to visit my family. They live about 3.5 to 4 hours away from us in Georgia, and we were just on the way down for the weekend. My husband was going to play in a basketball tournament, fundraiser type thing that my home church's school was putting on, and we were about an hour away from my parents when we were T-boned. Someone ran into the side of us. We're all okay. Let me just say that right now. We are all okay. On a 4-lane highway, so there were a few crossroads here and there, but this is like 4-lane highway with higher speeds of driving, like 65 to 70 miles per hour. This lady thought it was a 4-way stop on this crossroad. She said she was new to the area, she was confused, and yeah, my husband did see her crossing the 2 lanes on the northbound side, but he assumed she would stop in the median, but she just kept coming and there was no way he could avoid her, and she hit us full on in the middle of our van on Eden's side of the van. Van is completely totaled. We were spun completely around, like a whole 180 turn backwards, and we then traveled backwards down the road, down the ditch, up an embankment, backwards like another 500 feet or more. And the only thing physically that happened to us is I have a little cut right here on my arm. I can't really see. Doesn't need to be graphic either, but it wouldn't stop bleeding for a while there. But I did have some other smaller scratches from the glass flying because the window of the door broke. That was the most terrifying 10 seconds of my life as we were flying down the hill. I didn't know if we were gonna flip, and there are just so many things that could have gone so much worse. Like if we would have been hit in the front or the back of the car, we could have easily just only turned slightly and rolled the van, whereas she hit us dead center and it just completely spun us, and we just went backwards. We never flipped, never rolled, which I'm so grateful for. We walked away with only a few bumps and scratches. I got the most of it. I have a few bruises like on my hip from being slammed to the side. It was terrifying, but we all got out of the van immediately, and we were okay, and we were alive, which I'm so grateful for, because it could have been so much worse. And I'm just so grateful that Eden wasn't hurt at all. Like nothing touched her. She didn't have any cuts or like scratches or anything from the window shattering on her door, and her door was crushed up to her seat, but it didn't go any further than that, and she was completely fine. She was crying, so it obviously scared her, but nothing physically happened to her, and I am just so grateful. It was very scary there for a couple seconds. I still just close my eyes and see glass flying through the air in slow-mo, and us, like the van just hurtling backwards and with no idea where we were gonna end up. And yeah, but I'm just so grateful to God for keeping us safe and protecting us, and the other lady was okay as well, thankfully. So it was just only the vehicles that took most of the damage, and I'm just grateful to be here and to be alive, and that my husband and Eden are still here as well, because it could have just all ended up so differently. But yeah, God's hand was all over that. Wow. My mom was able to come pick us up since they only lived like an hour away. Someone on the fire department just took us to the police station to wait, and my mom was able to come pick us up. And then we were able to spend that night and the next day with my family. My brother-in-law drove us back home here to South Carolina Saturday night then, and we just took yesterday to just rest here at home. We were feeling very sore and achy, which is normal. But yeah, we're here, we're alive, and God is good. So good. There's a little bit of an update. I'm trying to think, when was my last video? I didn't film at all during well, okay, I did film some clips. Let me clarify. I just didn't edit any videos and upload anything through March. We had gone in the beginning of March. We had traveled up to Indiana for my husband's grandpa's 90th birthday celebration with the family. Yeah, we were gone, and then we came home. Eden had started coming down with a sickness while we were up in Indiana, and the sickness, like fevers and coughs and runny nose, like it was bad. It got all of us, not all of us to the same degree, but we were all sick for almost 2 weeks, so that was really rough. That was the first time that Eden had ever gotten really sick with like fevers and everything. This month was just crazy. And then after that, I was having some dental issues. A crown that was placed by a doctor in Colorado while I lived out there had either broken or wasn't done properly. And so I got an infection down underneath it, and so I had to get a tooth pulled, and it was just a whole mess. March was just crazy and busy and full, and just like life schedules were all thrown off, and so I just did not do hardly any filming, but I did do a lot of reading. And so we're going to talk about all of the books that I read in March. I read a total of 8 books, and 6 of them were all by the same author. So we're going to talk about all of those books last, and I'm going to talk about the other 2 books that I read, even though it's not necessarily the order that I read them in. Let's just go ahead and get started. But the first book that I finished in March was Five Lies of Our Anti-Christian Age by Rosaria Butterfield. I had started this book well over a year ago. It might even be almost 2 years ago, because I remember I was pregnant with Eden while I was reading it, and then we just stopped reading it. My husband and I were actually reading it together, and then life got busy, it got set to the side, we never finished it, and so I finally decided to pick it up and finish it in March. And she basically just tackles like some of the 5 major lies of the world today. Let me just break it down a little bit. Lie number 1, homosexuality is normal. Lie number 2, being a spiritual person is kinder than being a biblical Christian. Lie number 3, feminism is good for the world and the church. Number 4, transgenderism is normal. And number 5, modesty is an outdated burden that serves male dominance and holds women back. This was a very interesting read, for sure. I have loved Rosaria's writing. I just feel like this book here, it took a lot of courage, for sure, to write this book, because there are a lot of things that most people in our society today would not be okay with, the things that she wrote in here. There were many things that I was just like, yes, I agree with you, and I'm so proud of her for standing up for the truth and saying these things. There were other things that I was like, I'm not sure that I'm there yet with where, like, her stance on some things. Like just some things that I feel like I need to pray about more, wrestle with more, and study the Bible more, because even if it's a trusted Christian, whatever book you're reading, you do need to go back to the Bible and make sure it lines up with the Bible. And I do, for the most. I'm not saying like I think some of this stuff does not line up with the Bible. It's just taught in a way that I wouldn't have not really thought about before, if that makes sense. There are quite a bit of tabs in this book, just things that I want to come back to and read again and study again and hear different people's perspectives on things and all of that. But it was a very interesting read, for sure, and I do recommend it. But just know that your thoughts and things and how you view things and these topics, they might be challenged, you might feel your toes stepped on, or you might just simply completely disagree with her. I do feel like it was said with a lot of grace, but if you do read reviews of this book, there are a lot of people who did not think it was said with love and grace. So there are I feel like mixed opinions on this book, but I did enjoy it. I thought it took a lot of courage, as I said, to write this book, and I do feel like there are lots of things and truths in here that do need to be said, but a lot of us as Christians are afraid to say these things because of just society today. But anyway, there's the first one that I finished. And then the other book that is not by the author of the 6 other books that I read, I picked up Arena by Karen Hancock, and this is a new book, so I guess technically it would be in the haul that I want to show you guys. But I discovered a new booktuber, Christian booktuber. She's very new, Bookish Kelly, I believe. I'll link her channel down below. But in almost every video she was putting out, she mentioned this book. So she really loves this book, and so she sold me on it, and I ordered it immediately, and I did end up reading it. And wow, very interesting. It's not my normal type of book. Let me just say that. First off, can we talk about the cover? It is the 20th anniversary edition. Yeah, it's by Enclave Publishing, so it goes right along with my Children of the Consortium series by Kathy McCrum. Just like, I love the designs of these books. They are always so beautiful. But this book is a bit of a sci-fi fantasy type of story. I would say very inspired maybe by the Pilgrim's Progress, because that's kind of what you follow. The main character, why do I always forget their names? Callie. I got cut off. She was asked to join this experiment, like a survey type of thing. And these are things that she was involved in before, because you do get compensated for volunteering a little bit for certain surveys, experiments, whatever, things like that. And she decides to do this one, but it ends up being a bit more like an alien kidnapping, because she's then taken to this other world and given a manual and a backpack and some instructions of how to get out of this world that she was taken to. And so I'd say it's very similar in that aspect to Pilgrim's Progress, because there's a specific road that she needs to stay on. There's a manual for her to read that gives her all the instructions she needs. There's a benefactor that she needs to go to for help to get through the gate to be able to leave. So all of those different aspects of it are very similar to the Pilgrim's Progress. And so it has very deep Christian allegorical aspects to the story. I did enjoy it. I think I rated it on Goodreads, it's 4 stars, but my personal rating is more at 3.5, because I did enjoy the story. This type of sci-fi slash fantasy with aliens and humanoids and weird creatures like that are just not really my thing. It felt weird. And the world building, it was interesting. I think I was able to I was pretty much able to follow along with the world building and everything. It was just a little weird, but it's only because this is the first time I've ever read any book like that, and it's not normally in my wheelhouse of things that I'm interested in and reading. Like the Recorder series was more sci-fi, so not any weird half human, half alien creatures in it and things like that. And so like those types of things just kind of throw me off. It's just weird to me in my head, and I can't, but that's just a personal thing for me. I don't remember where I was and what I was saying about this book. I rated it 3.5 stars, 4 stars on Goodreads. I do recommend, if you like sci-fi fantasy books with Christian allegorical aspects to it, I think you would enjoy this book. But this isn't a normal, familiar genre to me, so I don't know. But Kelly inspired me to read it. I'm glad I did read it. It was very interesting, and it's a beautiful book. I'm definitely keeping it. Maybe I'll reread it sometime. And I did tab a few things, mostly like some of the more beautiful lines that were like in relation to biblical Christian themes. I thought it was a very interesting book, and I did have fun. I was really invested through most of the book. There is also romance in the book, and I will say that sometimes it got a little heavy with the attraction to each other, but that's a personal preference for me, and I feel like my preferences for those types of things are becoming more and more strict. Like I don't need to know that you're attracted to his chest and muscles and everything like that. Yeah, but it's fine. I'd say it's still very much PG, if not even less than that, so it's fine. I will say that there is a trigger warning in here for an attempted rape, so keep that in consideration. I think the only thing that made me a little sad was that this was an alien world, and it had very much like there was the good guy, like the good, or I guess I should say the one who would have been representing God, and then there was one who would have represented Satan, but it was all in this world particularly. But Callie ended up going back to Earth, like they made their way through. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. I don't think it is. But it just kind of ended soon after they made it back to Earth, and I'm like, it didn't really seem like they were Christians per se on Earth, so like was there that connection? Like, see, that was the only thing that was just like really weird for me, because it was this other world that had the Christian allegory to it and everything, but then they still came back to Earth. This is just me thinking out loud, because if it would just be a completely made-up world where you do have the representation for God and the representation for evil and Satan, and that just be it, like similar to like Chronicles of Narnia, but then they went back to Earth where God is real and God is true, and Jesus Christ who died on the cross and all of those things, but there was no aspect of that on Earth. Am I making sense? And so that kind of bothered me a little bit, but it was the end of the book, and so maybe it could have been explored later, where she would have maybe had this realization that, oh wait, God is the one true God, and it's not this other, because she did still think about like the truths and the things that she learned and experienced in this world. She did still think about them while she was on Earth, and that was just a little bit weird to me, because I'm like, those are representations of the true God. If I don't know, am I making sense? Like, it wouldn't bother me if this would have just been some other made-up world and not being present on Earth as well, where there is actually God, the whole Christian faith. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's just me being a little bit nitpicky, so don't mind me. I think the writing was great, the storytelling was excellent, and it was a wild, exciting ride. A little weird at times, again with the aliens and things, but very interesting for sure. So I'm glad I read it. Thanks for the recommendation, Kelly. Moving on. So in one of my wrap-ups recently, I've been talking about a new favorite author of mine, Jennifer Q. Hunt. I had read her Wisteria House series in January and maybe finished in February. I can't remember for sure. I think I read it over January and February, the whole series, and I absolutely love them. They are my top favorite series in the recent months, and probably could be all-time favorite series, because I absolutely adore Jennifer's writings. So and all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, which is fantastic. So I literally binged all of the rest of the books that she has out and published in March. So the next 6 books that I'm going to talk about are all of Jennifer Q. Hunt's backlist that I hadn't read yet. And yeah, I literally just could not stop reading any of them. So the first series that I read was the Sorrow and Song series. So the first one is Some Through the Fire, and I'll just put the covers up here. Some Through the Fire. Next, book number 2 is Great Waters, and book number 3 is In the Night Season. And then the Unbroken Song is like 0.5. It's a little Christmas novella. It gives the love story of the mom and dad of this family. But I would still read it after you read the original series because it does kind of give some spoilers away. So let's talk about the Sorrow and Song series first. Number 1, Sung Through the Fire, was the first book that she published. And I could kind of tell a little bit in the writing because it wasn't quite up to par as Wisteria House was. But it was still incredible. I still loved it. I only rated it 4 stars, but I just love her writing. And I love her characters. Her books are so character rich and there's so much character development. And I love character development more than plot most times. It depends on the genre, but these series. So this first book is, I can't remember the exact years that it spans, but I do know that it goes into World War I. In this whole series, we're following the Sweet family and the oldest daughter, Violet, or she's known as Vess because that's her initials, what her initials spelled out. We follow her story first in this first book here, and she's just experiencing a lot of heartache and loss in this book. There's a fire in Atlanta, which I'm from Georgia, and I don't remember ever hearing about the fire in Atlanta. I wasn't even aware of this part of Georgia's history with the fire in Atlanta. But anyway, Violet and the Sweet family, they lose their home. Her brother goes to war. Things are coming back to me. I've kind of forgotten some details. It's also very closely follows Billy's, which is her brother's story as well. So it's kind of both of theirs together. But her brother Billy goes to war, like World War I. And there's just a lot of hard things that the Sweet family is facing. But there's also some romance in it as well, and just a lot of life lessons that Violet learns. And one of the biggest things that I love about Jennifer's writing is just the way that she writes the real, raw wrestling with our faith and like our questions about the goodness of God when we're facing hard things in life, and just the way she like displays that. Like, I feel like sometimes Christian books just like will put in these platitudes and these normal like things that we say to people about how God is still good no matter what we're facing, but it doesn't always show the raw wrestling of it and struggling through those doubts and the questions and coming through on the other side. And you kind of see that throughout this whole book and the rest of the series as well. One of my favorite lines in this book was, "There's not grace for all of life's possibilities, but only for realities, which come to us one moment at a time." And I think that was in a part where they were discussing all of the things that could go wrong and the bad things that might happen in the future, but it was just a reminder that just for today, we have enough grace for today and for the things that are happening today, and to not constantly be worrying about the future. But anyway, love this series a lot. And then book number 2 of this Sorrow and Song series is Great Waters. So this is the one book that in the beginning of the book, it does give a little bit of a warning for readers. This book centers around Katie and her husband. So Katie would be the younger sister for Violet, and it does center around Katie's marriage. And so there is just a little bit more mature content when it comes to like the marriage, but still very PG. But it did kind of throw me off when I started reading it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want this, because it should be you know, either just like scene end or fade to black. I don't even really like fade to black in Christian writing, but the purpose of it being written in this book is, it's there for a reason, and I don't usually give those excuses, and there might be other reasons. Not cut off again. And there might always be a reason that people put some intimate details in books, but this one, it ended abruptly, but I was still a little bit shocked about the details. So this is just me saying, for the younger readers, please don't read this yet. I would say probably 18 up. This one follows Katie and her husband. They fall in love fairly quickly in the beginning of the book, and so the book then follows in the first years of marriage and just all of the hard things that they faced. This is set during so after World War I. It's set during the Depression, so the crash happens and her husband Russell is involved in the stock market and things like that, so he loses his job and he just faces a lot of they both face really, really difficult things in their marriage. And I always say that I want more Christian fiction writers to show good, strong biblical marriages, and not just like the romance leading up to it and then it's the wedding and then happily ever after. But this shows very real, beautiful, but hard, godly biblical marriages and how to wrestle through the hard things that come up in relationships, just like things that you face together that are difficult, and then things where you're kind of like the marriage is falling apart and you have to choose to stay and fight for it or leave, things like that. This one, it did feel like they just kept getting blow after blow after blow, but life can feel like that sometimes. So if you don't want to read it, then I would not recommend this book. If you don't want reality, then you might not enjoy this book as much as I did. But I just thought she did such an incredible job of writing the real, raw, hard things and then showing the redemption side of it as well. It was absolutely incredible. And yeah, this Great Waters was my favorite of all of the books, I think, that she wrote. Book number 3 is In the Night Season, and this one follows, oh goodness, it's kind of hard to explain. There are a lot of other details in this book, like in both of the first 2 books, with family members and different dynamics. And so this one then follows, I guess it would be Katie and Russell's nephew. Yes, I'm trying to remember family connections because it is a little complicated with some of the stories. But this one then follows Cal, and we're now in World War II, and so he's going to Germany. He does end up in a German concentration camp because he was betrayed. There are so many, oh my goodness, I'm just remembering all the different layers and levels of this story, because in Great Waters, book number 2, the people who are kind of Russell's adopted parents, no, I can't do that, that's spoilers. I can't talk about it, nope. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Can't do that. Just read these books, please. Anyway, this one again as well is just an incredible story, and it also shows Cal married to his wife and their marriage and everything that follows with that, and just more difficult things that they face. And yeah, if you joined Chrissy's live stream and reading sprints, I think it would have been Friday a week ago, I could not stop talking about these series and the books that by Jennifer Q. Hunt. So I raved about them, and a lot of people were like writing them down, taking their recommendations. So I do highly, highly, highly recommend these books. If you don't love them, that's okay. Not every book is for everyone, but these are my new favorite books, and she is my new favorite author, and I will read anything she writes because it's just so incredible. So yeah, book number 2 I rated 5 stars, book number 3 I rated 5 stars, and then The Unbroken Song, which is like the 0.5, it's the Christmas novella. It is the love story of John and Mary Sweet, so the parents of Violet, Billy, and Katie. There are other siblings mentioned in the story as well in the books, but they don't each individually have their own book. And I thought this was a very sweet story, and I rated this one 4 stars. It's only, yeah, 179 pages, so it's a really short Christmas novella, which I would recommend it even for Christmas time, but I read it in March, so it wasn't heavy on the Christmas aspects of the story. So it doesn't have to just be read around Christmas time, but again, I would read it after you read the Sorrow and Song series. And also, the Sorrow and Song series is somewhat related to the Wisteria House series because the Sweet family are friends with I can't remember the last names of the people in Wisteria House, but they are connected, like they would attend the same church and they're friends. And so you do see some of the Sweet family show up in Wisteria House, but you don't necessarily have to read the Sorrow and Song series first. I read the Wisteria House first, and I'm glad I did, because if I would have started with the first book, I don't think I would have appreciated her writing as much, because I love the Wisteria House so much. And then I went back and read the first book, Some Through the Fire, and was like a little bit disappointed with the writing because it was her first book, and so she hadn't fully developed her writing style yet, if that makes sense. So it doesn't really matter which series you start with. but I do ask you to please read them. The next one that I read then was Christmas Still. So this is just a short 82 pages Christmas novella as well. So this one is not connected to the other series. It's just a standalone little Christmas novella. I enjoyed it. Again, I did only rate it 3 stars, only because I don't know how to, I can't give 5 stars to novellas for some reason, because I feel like there's just so much more to the story that could have happened if it would have been a full-length novel. But I still enjoyed this story. It's in Christmas of 1918, and we're following Lottie, and so her husband is home from the war, but his mind and his body have been changed because of the things he experienced in the war. And so it's that dynamic that she's walking through with her husband, and then also her brother bringing home a surprise, and just having to walk through that over the Christmas season. And they were trying to decide if they even wanted to celebrate Christmas that year because of all the hard things they faced. And yeah, it's another beautiful story. I do recommend. And then finally, I read Let Nothing You Dismay, and this is a Wisteria House Christmas novella. But this is where a lot of the characters from the Sorrow and Song series show up as well, because the families are connected eventually, if you catch my drift. You know, some romances and marriages happening. So they all pretty much just show up together in this series. And it does focus a little bit more on Hope, which would be Russell and Katie's daughter from Great Waters, and AJ, which would be, oh shoot, Adam and, I can't remember her name. I have such a hard time remembering characters' names. It's so sad because I remember the story, but I can't always remember the characters' names. But the first book of the Wisteria House series, their son and Hope. So it's their love story. And I loved this one. It was beautiful. I did rate it. I, again, just only rated it 4 stars, but I think it could be 5 stars. It's just a short novella. So please read Jennifer Q. Hunt's books. Like I said, if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're all on there. But I also think her books are just worth buying, whether you read them or not, and just have them on your shelf. They're so good. I love them. And I should go look and see if she has any more books coming out soon, because again, I would read anything she writes. And she's probably definitely going to be an auto buy for me. I don't own any of her books yet. I just read them all on Kindle Unlimited so fast. So they're all on my wish list. I will hopefully be buying them soon so that I can have them on my shelf. So that is the wrap up. I have no idea how long this video is by now. I feel like I've been talking for a while, and I feel like it's probably very long, but I'm gonna quickly do a little book haul. Let me grab them. So obviously one of the first ones that I did get was The Arena by Karen Hancock, and then I have some books from Felicia Masonheimer, Every Home a Foundation, and then Raising Tiny Disciples. I have a video clip of me opening the box, and because there were a lot of other goodies and things that I bought from Felicia's website, so I will insert that clip. Randomly filming this on a Wednesday afternoon, but I have a little haul from Every Woman a Theologian. There was one specific thing that I went on her website to look for, but I saw there were so many things that were actually on sale at the time. I don't know if they would still be. So I decided to do a little stock up on some things that I want. Anyway, let's hurry do this. Okay, first up is I have How to Walk by the Spirit. It's such a tiny little booklet. I love her little series that she has of quick theology, just really small, to the point books on many different topics. And then I got her book Raising Tiny Disciples, Actual Advice to Enjoy the Process and Enjoy Your Kids. So I got her little packets of cards here. This is for more in the future, but also I could now, even because we do this is the Teach Me to Pray prayer learning cards for kids. We do already pray with her, like at meal times and at bed times, and then other times during the day. I forget that I can actually do this for her, but like especially this last week when we were sick, we prayed a lot, and I felt that some of those would be helpful to teach her just different prayers. And then I also have this one, Prayers for Parents, scripture-based prayers for your bedtime routine. So I thought those would be fun. And then I got her latest book.
This one was on sale at the time, which I was very happy to see. Every Home, a Foundation, Experiencing God Through Your Everyday Routines. I love this. I love routines, and I'm always looking for practical advice on how to help the home to run smoothly. And I like watching her day in the life stories that she randomly does, where she talks about all her routines. Look, Mama got a new book. Do you want the new book? I got this one. You Were Always You. She has lots of little kids books that I thought looked really good, but I grabbed this one. Can't remember if it was on sale or not, but it's a new book. Wow. And then also this one, Teach Me the Gospel Christian Learning Cards for Kids. This card set walks through 15 essential elements of the gospel message, introducing children to the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ and the saving work for all who believe. Each card is paired with a memory verse, providing a scriptural foundation to helping parents guide their children in understanding God's love, the impact of sin, the need for salvation, and the hope of eternal life through Christ. Designed for all ages, etc. So I thought those would also be good just to have in the arsenal of teaching materials, things like that. And then this one was also on sale, and it's for obviously when she's much older. Oh, it came with stickers. But it's just certain heroes of the church coloring and activity book. So that will just go into the stash for things to use in the future, but here we go.
Then these next two books I got at the thrift store. My mom and sister had come up to visit one weekend in March, and we went to the thrift store. So I found this one, Secrets by Kristen Heitzman, 75 cents. What a win. I have not read this author, but it looked interesting, and I know a lot of people like this author, so I thought I'd give her a shot. The book was 75 cents, so why not? And then I also picked up A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. This is probably the only Nicholas Sparks book I would ever read because, you know. I have listened to the audiobook, but I can't remember if there is some content in there. My little sister wanted to read the book, and I was like, I can't remember. Knowing what I know about Nicholas Sparks books, I was like, you probably shouldn't read him. But I feel like this one is a safe one, but I couldn't remember exactly. So I got it, and I'm gonna read it, and then let her know if she can read it or not. She's will be 14 this year, so yeah, so she's a little young, so I try to vet most books for her that she, or if she asks me to anyway. Then I also got Heather Kaufman's Up From Dust. I ordered this off of Pango Books. My friend Erica highly recommends this book. It is the story of Martha in the Bible, so it is biblical fiction. Heather Kaufman wrote one of my all-time favorite books, The Story People. If you haven't read that one yet, please read it as well. But I thought I'd try out her other books. I think she does have another biblical fiction book out now. This one is highly recommended by my friend Erica, and so I thought I'd give it a shot. The lady who I bought it from, sent me a little thank you note, a little bookmark, and like a reading tracker. How fun is that? And then also some little bookish stickers. So I thought that was neat and a little surprise to find when I opened the package. I think those are all of the newest books that I have gotten. It's not a whole lot, which I'm trying to not buy so many books right now, especially new ones. Although I got Arena, brand new. But when they're as beautiful as they are from Enclave Publishing, I don't even bat an eye. But now, the unhaul that I want to do, I do have this stack here. Most of them are these Christie Ann Hunter books. So this first one, like the Hawthorne series, I really enjoyed this series. It was actually really good writing, really decent, really good faith content, I think. But I'm trying to make room for like on my bookshelves, I'm trying to make room for authors that I just love. And like I mentioned earlier, my tastes for Christian romance are kind of changing just a little bit more, where I want to just get rid of some of the, I don't know how to explain it. After reading Jennifer Q. Hunt's books, is what I'm trying to say, is that I'm just wanting more Christian fiction historical fiction, Christian romance books, have the depth that those had. And so I was going over some of my books on the shelf and was trying to decide if I want to get rid of them. And I just don't know that I would ever read these again, which is kind of sad. I really did enjoy it. Now that I'm looking at them, like, do I want to get rid of them? But again, I want to make room on my shelves, so I have to make sacrifices somewhere. I could possibly get rid of some Karen Whittemire books, which is crazy because I loved her books. But she can also tend to be a little bit more on the spicy, not spicy. It's so low spice compared to the spice that's out there. But again, my tastes are changing. Oh man, if that makes sense. You wouldn't even consider her book spice compared to other stuff that's out there. But if you catch my meaning, you know? So I don't know. I really do love her books, and I don't even own that many of them. But again, it can be a little heavy on the physical attraction aspects and details of the male body that the woman is admiring and vice versa. So, you know, I'm just starting to not love that anymore in my books. I'm like, we don't... Oh, I don't know. Anyway, the other one is a Christy Ann Hunter book as well. This is book number 1 in the Haven Manor series. I haven't finished the rest of the series yet, so I don't know for sure yet if I want to get rid of that series, but these are all books that I'm just contemplating getting rid of. Give me your reasons down below if I should keep them or why I should keep them, because I have read them. I just don't know if I'll ever read them again. And again, I want to make room on my shelf for Jennifer Q. Hunt's books, and I also want to get more Susie Finkbeiner books, and Joanna Davis and Napolitano books, Gabrielle Meyer. You know, I'm just trying to make room on my shelf. And okay, so these next ones are Laura France's books. The thing about Laura France, I enjoyed her books. I'm pretty sure I rated all of her books 4 stars. I don't know, I can't really remember if I actually rated any of them 5 stars, but here's the thing. When I close a Laura France book, everything about the book and the story and the characters is gone from my mind. I could not tell you what these books are about. And there's some up there that I think I've read, but I'm not sure I actually read them. So it's one of those things, it's like, why would I keep her on my shelf? Because I don't remember anything that she's written, except if I look back on Goodreads, I rated it 4 stars, and if I read the synopsis of them, I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember that. It was a good story. Like, I think she's a great author, but I literally forget everything for some reason with her books, which is really sad because I mean, her books are beautiful. All I know about this one is it's some kind of Scottish romance. This one, I could tell you nothing about it. I'm really torn about the Laura France books. I feel like maybe I should read them again just one more time just to see. Maybe I should do a video where you do a read it or get rid of it type of thing, where I should maybe give some of her books another chance by rereading and seeing if I like them. And there are other books up there that I know I haven't read of hers, and then there's one that I'm not sure about that I think I read but I don't remember for sure, so I want to read it. Yeah, there is a little bit more of a reading update, life update, wrap up, new books, possibly getting rid of some books. I do hope to be doing more videos in April this month, probably some reading vlogs, things like that, but we'll see how life goes. At this point, I don't really have any trips planned, unless I go down to see my family again this weekend, because my brother, who lives in Colorado, is home for the weekend, and there's other things happening that I kind of want to be there for. But I'm a little nervous now for driving, which is understandable, but I also can't let fear control my life either, so I haven't decided yet if I'm going down. And then we do have family visiting us over Easter weekend, but other than that, I think we'll just be here at home this month, which will be great. I think we're gonna work on planting our garden this week, and I'm really excited about that because it will be the first time I've ever been like in charge of a garden. We obviously had a garden growing up that I helped with planting, weeding, harvesting, everything, but this is the first year that I can actually have my own garden and be in charge of it, and I'm so excited. I love working with plants, and I love growing things. So yeah, I hope to have some more vlogs and other videos this month. because I'm feeling the creative juices like just running again because I didn't do anything in March. And so yeah, if there is anything in particular that you guys would like to see, any other like tags or themed videos that you saw around booktube that you would like to see me do, put them down in the comments because I would take any suggestions, honestly, and I'll consider them at least. I can't promise that I will do all of them, but I'll at least consider them. And then we're gonna have to end this now or it's gonna just keep getting longer. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you're new here, I would love for you to hit the subscribe. I never ask people to subscribe, so I'm like, if you want to subscribe, you'll subscribe. But I am trying to reach a goal of hitting 1,000. That's my first ever goal that I finally just was like, you know what, I think it'd be fun to finally hit 1,000. So if you're new here and you enjoyed this video and you've checked out my other videos and you want to stick around, then please do hit the subscribe button because it would just mean a lot. I really do appreciate everybody who has subscribed and comments and yeah, just shows support for my videos. It truly is just a fun little creative outlet for me at this point. But anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.